everybody. Welcome. This is Brian. Welcome to Chiller Night Live. We're from 8 p.m. Eastern Time until 9 o'clock. We'll talk about all things horror, science fiction, paranormal. You picked a topic and we'll make a show out of it. So how is everybody doing? Stephanie says, hey, y'all. Hey, Stephanie, thanks for joining us. Hope everybody's having a great week. D says, good evening, everyone. Good evening, D. Thank you for joining us. Bonehead says, hey, hello, Brian. Bonehead, thanks for joining us on Facebook tonight, for now anyways. So, hope everybody's doing fantastic. And, yeah, I'm recovering from last week. Excuse me. Here's some of the remnants of last week spilling over to this week. Still recovering a bit, as much as I can. Ava and I were kind of struck down with the cold, flu, whatever, last week, and seemed to be doing pretty good this week. Bonehead switched back over to YouTube. Hey, hello, Brian. Welcome back. Hope you're doing better. Thank you very much. And there's my baby Ava. Hello, she says to everybody. And Tom says, greetings. Okay, I got to read it like it's spelled. Greetings, Tom. Thanks for joining us. Bonus says, hey, hello, Miss Ava. All right, so again, hope everybody's doing well. Hope you were, I hated to miss last week, but I just didn't feel like it. I wasn't feeling up to it, folks. That happens every once in a while, especially this time of the year, doesn't it? So. Oh well, so but we're over that, or we're getting over it for the most part. So I will start off right off the bat. Then it says, Brian, you know I check on Facebook first to see if you're on, then I switch over to YouTube. Oh, is that right? I am not sure why, like, you're not being notified, like. And I will say this to everybody out there: if you're new to this channel, like and subscribe and hit the notification bell, because you're supposed to be notified when I'm doing these videos. So D says, make orange drop cookies and watching your making orange drop cookies and watching your live stream. Awesome, that sounds good. What a nice thing to be doing on a Tuesday night. Sounds good. Al says, hi everyone, it's Chiller Night. It sure is, Al. Thanks for joining us. SBC says, hello everyone. Hey, SBC, thanks for joining us. Yeah, we are. I hope everybody's feeling well. I hope you're feeling better than I was last week. Kind of got struck down, but we bounced back, and we're gonna make this show happen. By golly, anybody see anything lately? Any good movies? Is there not a new Nosferatu movie out there? And I should have checked this. I didn't do that. Just because I'm just now thinking about it. But and if so, is it out at the theaters right now? Is it streaming anywhere? That'd be awesome. Tom says, I'm notified through YouTube. Been pretty consistent for me over the past few years. That's what I figured. Yeah, I don't understand why okay, so has anybody liked and subscribed to the channel, hit the notification bell, and not being notified? Now I guess if you fall into that category, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. We'll look up a YouTube tutorial on it. Maybe someone's got some information on it that they didn't tell us about. But who knows? But hey, I want to remind everybody, every Saturday night on Stream TV, you can still see their logo proudly displayed every week prominently on Chiller Night Live, the show that used to be the Chiller Night pre-show on Saturday night. So, but you can watch, speaking of Saturday nights, Chiller Night Theater every Saturday night at streammedia.tv. Streammedia.tv. And the Frightening Fun begins at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And they've been playing like 4 or 5 different chiller, or sometimes I noticed lately they've been doing kind of a double feature thing where 1 or 2 of the movies are playing double. I guess that's for a double feature option, I guess. So I don't know. I haven't asked about that. I just saw it a couple of weeks ago. I thought, oh, okay, it's something different, But we've been on that channel since with them since October of 2017. So it's been a while. Oh, okay. Tom says, I'm going to see the new Nosferatu on Christmas Day. It's in theaters. I think that's what you're saying. It's I Know Theaters. It's in theaters, I'm guessing. D says, it's being released on Christmas Day. Ah, I see. Okay, awesome. But it says, I know, Brian, you're supposed to get notified by YouTube, but I've been in your live chats for years and I don't get any notifications. Huh. I wonder if you've clicked that notification, if you unclick it and click it again, I don't know, maybe unsubscribe and then jump back in there. I don't know, maybe shake it up a little bit. I don't know the answer. I wish I did. Al says, I saw Werewolves over the weekend. It was great. Werewolves? What is that? I mean, I know what werewolves are, but what movie is this? What movie is this you speak of, Al? Was this a theatrical release, or is this something that's streaming right now? Or is it an older movie? Maybe it's an older movie he's talking about. SBC says, I saw the trailer for the new Nosferatu. It doesn't look bad. Stephanie says, a couple of weeks ago, I've seen Arsenic and Old Lace at book club. I need to learn how to read again, apparently. A couple of weeks ago, I've seen Arsenic and Old Lace at book club. You saw it. Oh, so you guys watch movies there as well, huh? Now that could be a book club I could get into. I used to read pretty avidly. I did, but it's been a long time since I've. What's you want to watch? What? Werewolves. Werewolf. Okay, Ava wants to watch it, so we've got Ava's attention. She wants to watch Werewolf. Oh, she's on the treadmill outside. In the dark domain, Jack Shadow allows us to exercise and keep healthy so that we can keep our stamina when being chased by such things as werewolves. Zombies aren't as bad because they're pretty slow, but werewolves are a lot trickier. So, got to keep the cardiovascular up to date. So, let's see, where am I at? SBC says, I have subscribed and clicked the button, but I only get notification message when I refresh the browser. Ah, okay. Tom says, I get a pop-up on my phone. Stephanie says, I also saw the trailer of the upcoming Return of the Living Dead remake. Whoa, I did not know that they were doing a Return of the Living Dead remake. Does it look like it's a kind of a on the humor side, lighthearted, like the original Return of the Living Dead? How did that look? Now I gotta start looking these up and maybe even playing them over here on the side of the screen or something. John says, if you survived Krampus Night and Friday the 13th, that's right, we had a Friday the 13th here in December. Here is your reward. Once again, it's time for Chiller Night Live, and this is Crozak the Grand. And yes, I'm back. Now here is Bryan Hogue. Thank you, Crozak the Grand. You are back, and so am I. Yes, I had to miss last week, unfortunately. Kristen said, the new Wolfman... Hey, Kristen, thanks for joining us. The new Wolfman movie releasing in January looks great. Does it? I haven't seen... Did I see the trailer? I don't think I saw the trailer to it. I will be honest, Kristen. I saw a... like, what looked to be... They said that this was what the new Wolfman looked like. Or no. Yeah, Wolfman. And the Wolfman looked kind of just like a crazy, grizzled old man. Get off my yard, you rascal kids. But maybe, I don't know. Well, you say that the oh, you didn't say you saw the trailer. You say that the movie looks like it's going to be great. Okay, well, maybe it will. Who knows? Who knows? I don't know. I'm a little iffy about the way that I saw the werewolf looking, but you know, never judge a movie by its werewolf. Uh, no, that's not right. You should absolutely judge a movie by its werewolf. Al says it was in a theater. It's called Werewolves. Okay, so it's in the theaters now. I take it. Wow. How did I not see that? I don't watch a lot of TV anymore, except for at night. Abe and I have been taking a trip down memory lane and watching. We've been binge watching Dallas because before Yellowstone came back on, we're like, what can we find? It's kind of like a substitute for Yellowstone. We're like, wait, the Yellowstone of the '80s, of the '70s and '80s, into the early '90s. Dallas. We've never watched it. I never watched it, and I'm saying all that just to say that I don't watch a lot of TV, but we have been binge watching Dallas in the evenings. We've been making the time to do that, and it's been a lot of fun. So Bunny says, yes, I've tried that. I've tried all of those, but I can't get it to work. Too many moving parts for me, I guess. I'm about as bright as a burned out light bulb, you know. Ah! Christian says, speaking of arsenic and old lace, I played Mortimer Brewster in Titusville several years ago. Such a fantastic piece of work. In Titusville? Now, do you do... I'm guessing the answer is going to be yes, since you live in Franklin. But I mean, do you do theater in the theater in Franklin, the Borough Civic? That's cool though. That's neat. Dominic says, glad to see you back. Missed the show last week. Hope you feel better. Wait, hey, thank you, Dominic. I appreciate that. Christian, I think back when I was patrolling the mean streets of Franklin. I believe that you were doing that back then. So you've been at this for a while. Stan says, I made it. Hey, Stan, thanks for joining us. Kind of caught the theater bug. SBC says, watching film trailers together, that's a good idea. Yeah, that'd be neat. I could probably put them on here, and hopefully, like, if I just move the camera over here, I have more room over here, and play I've done that a few times, where I played the trailer in the inside, and I don't seem to get any copyright strikes for it, so that's the one thing I don't get the strikes for. Let's see. Stephanie says, the remake is pretty far from humorous by the looks of it. Oh, yeah. Oh, pretty far from humorous. Return of the Living Dead. Ah, now you've piqued my interest. Bonus says, anyways, I can't decide if getting Godzilla -1 in color or black and white. I can't decide which one to save up and get. Or should I just save up and get both? Oh, lordy, choices and chances. Why? You would think... Why wouldn't they put that? Well, I know why, but I mean, wouldn't that be nice for the fans if they had, 2 discs in? I don't know if you're getting discs or if you're talking about files, if you're downloading files or whatever, but they should have them both as an option for the fans. SBC says, I watched a few of the old X-File episodes on VHS last week. Yeah. Since the chat was not happening. Oh, that's a good way to spend some time there on a Tuesday night. Bonehead says, there's Bonehead going on about Godzilla again. Hey, this is the place to do it. Al says, Werewolves is a new movie just released last week. Wow. How did we miss that? How did I miss that? Bonehead says, sorry, I'll be quiet now. No. John says, coming to 4K, The Reanimator. Also coming to Blu-ray with all new bonus content coming in 2025. The Reanimator? Are you talking about a remake? Or you're talking it's coming to the new quality, a better quality with 4K or whatever? SBC says, a few more seasons of Dallas and Jack Shadow wears a cowboy hat. He did in one episode. I don't know if you remember this. But Jesse James meets Frankenstein's granddaughter. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He had a cowboy hat and holster and had his 6-shooter. He looked like quite the dapper outlaw. SBC says, oh, I already read that. Kristen says, it's been a few years. The demands of learning lines and stage fright is a hell of a thing. Stage fright? No. I'm sure you don't get that. Bonehead says, really? You don't get stage fright anymore, do you? I mean, I'm guessing that because you've been doing that for some years. But maybe you do. Maybe all actors do that to some extent. But it says, Brian, you've noticed you're getting newer participants here in the live chat. Welcome to Chiller Night crew, Stan and Dominic. Yes. I am always very happy to see new names in our view in the chat here. So that's awesome. And some of our regulars are noticeably missing, like Renee and of course Paul. Paul's been gone for a while. Raymond sometimes is in here during the live. Stephanie says, last week I watched a show called Body Cam. Oh, was that a horror movie or sci-fi or just like a thriller, drama, or Body Cam? SBC says, yes, now I remember this was a fun movie. The Jesse James meets Frankenstein's granddaughter. Is that what it was, or Frankenstein's daughter? But I remember, whatever it wasn't correct. Because I remember Jack Shadow pointing that out. Like, it wasn't his daughter, it was his granddaughter, you know? They couldn't even get the title right. Kristen says, numb hands and vomiting before almost every show. What? No way, that can't be healthy. And in production of The Odd Couple, I couldn't open the front door to the set, really. Hey, I will tell you, there was back when, in January of 2019, was the first time we did Chiller Night, the Friday Night Frights. We were doing Chiller Night Theater live. And it was just as live as you and me. No, it was as live as what we're doing right here. And it was, because, my thinking was, I think that'll be entertaining. I love watching live whatever. I mean, there's I don't know, there's a bit more of a thrill to it. Like, I thought that there would be that quality I could add to Chiller Night Theater. In fact, if I ever brought the show back again, I would rather it be a live production. I think that would be, I think people would like that. I would like that. But anyways, I did notice, what Kristen's talking about, because like all of a sudden, you pretty much get one take at that. There might be a very occasional goof up for several years we did that. We did that for 19, 20, 21, and 22. We did that for 4 years. We had live Chiller Night Theaters. Whether it was Jack Shadow or moi, standing in for Jack Shadow, which I did to keep the show alive, to keep it, with a pulse. But I did notice the very first night that I was doing this. Now imagine this. My very first night of doing this, and I'm trying to figure out, like, okay, you know me with technical stuff. So I've got that on my mind. I've got, delivering dialogue and the cadence and the voice and the delivery of Jack Shadow. And you got to do that right. You got to do that right. You got to do it once. There are no retakes live, So I was doing that, and then, I had a checklist out of view, the camera. So going down the checklist, and I'll admit, as many times as I've been Jack Shadow in the haunted houses and the horror hosting, this was different, completely different. So the very first night I did that, I will tell you, I felt a little unnerved, because I thought, okay, You know, this is different than anything I've ever done. So, except for in 2009, we did do a live uh, Chiller Night Theater. It was Sleepy Hollow Theater back then, on stage in front of an audience, and that was set up like a theater, and so that was a little different. But I always have fun. I always have fun. Geesh, now I'm getting behind here. Let me try to catch up here. Talking about, oh, John says, I'm talking about the original Reanimator starring Jeffrey Combs. Okay, okay. Cool. I remember seeing that back in the 90s on VHS. I'm not saying it came, I don't know when it came, late 80s, I'm guessing. But I remember seeing that on video in the 90s for the first time. Dominic says, thanks for the warm welcoming, Bonehead. Yes, thank you, Bonehead. Appreciate that. And we appreciate you being here with us. Tom says, when I get stage fright, I can taste metal. Really? Huh. Well, what are you... Is that normal? See, what are you doing when you're getting stage fright that where you're tasting metal? Out in the highway or what? I don't know. That can't be right. Stan says hi. Oh, Stephanie's saying hello to Dominic and Stan. SBC says, Stephanie, you could make a good comedy out of the body cam thing. I probably could. Bonet says, you're very welcome, Dominic. You'll soon notice that I'm the most annoying skull in this program. I'm the disruptive influence on here. I need to quit doing that. My New Year's resolution. LOL. No, don't you dare. 2025 will be boring. Yes, Bonehead is a skull. Just a skull. Hence the name, moniker, Bonehead. So Brian Ivers says, hello all. Hey, Brian, thanks for joining us. Brian, I think, had... No, that could have been last week because I wasn't here last week. I thought like the day after we did our last show, I saw it was your birthday. So happy belated birthday. If I haven't wished you a happy, I think I'm getting the right viewer. Pretty sure it was Brian. So Kristen says, I came in a few minutes late to the show, but had there been any drone talk? Should we be concerned? Oh, we have not talked about the drones. I know it was mentioned a couple weeks ago when it was first started up, and at that point, I hadn't even it wasn't even like near the talk it was now because I really hadn't heard about it, or I heard of a few little things, but it wasn't anything. I'm like, okay, the drones, okay, all right. So, but no, I don't know that we've really covered that. Jason says, good evening, fellow ghouls, and the great Mr. Hogue. Oh, thank you, kind sir. Jason, appreciate it. Tom says, LOL, Stan. Brian says, thanks. All right, I think I got it right. SBC says, where is Armanus? I don't know. Yes, Tom says he's MIA. That is true. I think it's true. Jason says, we need a Manos double feature. Oh, maybe that'll lure them back to the show. One time one of the last times that I had talked or text, I know that he said, with the medicine he's taken, it's harder for him to stay awake, later on. So that's probably what's going on. So, but Paul, hopefully, if you're watching this at a later time during the day, you are missed. So we hope to see you on here again with us. Bonin says, an empty-headed booby. Yep, that's me. What? Only Bonehead would be proud of that. Jason says, Manos is leaving us empty-handed. Ah! Bonin says, I wonder about Paul Lynch. I hope the guy is okay. Yeah, me too. Me too. Yeah, we used to talk quite often or text back and forth, and it's been a while. And every once in a while I check on him. So, yeah, I hope everything's okay. I haven't checked on him for a while though. So hopefully everything is all right. Tom says, What would you pair? What would you pair Manos with for a double feature? I personally would pair it with the Creeping Terror. How about that? The Creeping Terror and Manos in the Hands of Fate. Now that, hmm, that would be quite the double feature. But you guys, don't let me encourage you there. You pick. What would you pair with Manos as a double feature? SBC says, "What is this about the drones?" And Stan says, "My drone is home." Yes, my drone is home as well. The drone that I have, which has never made the news, I can say that. All these drones, they're mysterious drones. Sean says, the carpet movie. Yeah, that crawling carpet monster. Jason says, Manos and the new Manos sequel. That would be, there you go. There you go. When it says the creeping carpet. Yep. But the drones are sighted now in several states. Was I think it was just kind of in New Jersey at first, starting coming in from the sea and flying around, and nobody knows what they are. Who believes that? Who believes that? But the SBC says the killer shrews or the giant claw. I was actually thinking that the giant claw would be a good one too, but I went with the. I didn't think of the killer shrews. Okay, that's a new one there. Yeah, I went with the creeping terror. I don't know. Anybody got any theories? I have. There are so many things online. Theories about. They're drones and they're looking for. Now this is. I have no idea. I don't know what it is. But I 100% believe that the government. I can't say all the government. I don't know what they are, but I don't know. They say that there's some theories that they're tracking for like radioactive emissions, and they don't want to panic everybody by letting them know that possibly somebody has something snuck into our country that they shouldn't have. So I don't know. I hope that's not the case, but I mean, could very well be. Anybody could just walk in. Stars LOL, Stan says. Well, I don't know. I mean, these ones kind of move around a little bit, but SBC says I have to watch the Manos Returns. But it says I didn't know Manos had a sequel. Yeah, we covered that one night. You might not have been here, but that was actually because I was surprised. Paul told me that they had a sequel. And so, yeah, but I can't play it because it's not public domain. But yeah, and it was the guy who played the original Manos. I mean, I didn't know there was that much of a demand for it. But somebody made Manos Return. So, yeah, that's a burning question, eh? Bonin says. Jason says, the drones are the first probes from Mars. War of the World has come to real life. Yeah. Yeah. Mechanic dragons, Stephanie says. I don't know. Your guess is as good as any. SBC says, alien drone looking for beautiful woman from Earth. Probably not what's behind it, but it would make a good movie. Yeah. Sure. Why not? Why not? I mean, I don't know how you could not come to this conclusion, but I would think that it's the drones are of U.S. origin, not if it was from a different country, a foreign country, especially an adversarial country, they'd be shot down. They'd just be shot down because they could have anything on them. They could have a biological component to them. They could spread anything, anywhere. Um, you can form your own opinions. I'm sure we'll find out soon enough. But I have no doubt that this government, military, or at least certain people within making decisions within those the government or military know exactly what's going on. 100%, 100%. You'd be very hard pressed to convince me otherwise. That just defies any type of logic as to why they would be allowed to do what they're doing right now. So whatever they're looking for, if those drones are controlled by the good guys, the white hats, then I hope that they find what they're looking for. Or maybe they already have, and they're tracking the progress of something. If it's being controlled by the bad guys, then I hope they don't find what they're looking for, because it's probably not a good thing. Stephanie says, the guy who played the original Manos is still alive. Yikes. Yeah, yeah, he is. And this got me to, you just reminded me of something. And the guy, remember Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, Alan Ormsby? The guy, the main, Tristan and we were talking back and forth about the theater. The guy who was very theatrical and dramatic because he was a theater director, theater producer. And in the movie, and this came out in 1972. Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things. Alan Ormsby. I just wished him a happy birthday on Facebook the other day, so he's still alive. But yeah, Stan says, like the moon landing. LOL. Saw it live in school. Chiller was more real. Yeah, there is a lot of iffy things going on there. I mean, maybe not at the time, well, some people were very skeptical at the time, but the more you're able to actually look in on a lot of things, the more you raise a lot of questions. Yeah, SBC says, Russian nuclear weapons that are transported on trucks across the USA. You never know. Like I said, I hope if it's bad people with bad intentions that they are stopped. That's a given. Brian says, I saw a report, no drones have appeared over Washington, D.C. Interesting. Well, it's starting to spread out to different various states. I'm sure one way or the other, we're gonna know exactly what they are here shortly. I can only guess shortly. Jason says Manos has small parts in Manos Returns. It's more of a project for his daughter, who was the little girl in the original. What? Really? Ah, okay. Interesting. So, though you Manos fans, if there's one or two of you out there, or Paul, if you're watching this at a later time, have hope. Have hope. We may well be seeing more Manos. But it says, when I was in the service, we were on a need-to-know basis. They said we didn't need to know. End of that discussion. Yeah, they do that. They do that a lot, don't they, Bonehead? Yeah. Jason says, Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things is one of my favorite public domain films. Yeah, that is a good one. Hey, folks, the very first, I will say this, and I've said this for many years until somebody can prove me wrong. That was the first colorized zombie movie. That was actually where we saw the zombies actually feeding on people. It might have been the very first color zombie movie ever. Because you look at it, Night of the Living Dead came out in 1968, October of 1968. 1968! Pretty good year. Pretty good people came about that year, I must say. But anyways, I digress. 1968, Night of the Living Dead. Of course, we know is in black and white. 1972, a few ticks down the calendar, we have Children Should Play with Dead Things, colorized. And we get to see ghouls in the gray and the green and the blood, the bright red blood. I never understood that coming out of, well, one of the guys was like a Civil War looking thing, and he was still coming up. That he had his uniform looked like he was doing pretty good. I think I remember something like that. I'm like, oh, really? Would there be that much of them left? PBR, hey, PBR is waving, so I'll wave back. Everybody can see my wave. So Stephanie says, I never see Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things. What? Oh, you should check it out. And if you don't know where to find it, well, I was about to say it would be on this channel on YouTube, The Chiller Night. But I can't always say that. It was at one time, I will say that. That's as best as I can do. No, you know what? I think that was taken down. I think that was taken down. Yeah, one of the many that were just taken down. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on anymore. I don't know who has what shows of mine are still on YouTube. Who knows? If I get my own Roku channel, I'll put them on. What are they going to do? Give me a cease and desist, I don't know. SBC says, they must be drones from the U.S. government. Foreign alien drones would not know the no-fly zone over the White House. Yeah, they are, apparently, from what I'm hearing, I'm not there to witness this stuff. I'm just going by the many, many reports and stuff that I'm, seeing on Twitter or X. I'm sorry. I guess that's been updated, hasn't it? Or wherever you get your news. Wherever you get your favorite news or favorite propaganda, that seems to be the case. They seem to be flying adhering to, all the laws of, the FCC and all that. So I don't know. Dominic says, Brian, what was your opinion of Svengoolie? He's been on in my area for like 40 years. Well, see, I never watched Svengoolie. In fact, growing up in Northwest Pennsylvania, my horror host, and for all I knew, the only horror host, I didn't know that this was not a thing that, when I was growing up, I watched Chiller Theater with host Bill Chilly Billy Cardell. So I just knew that show. And when I was growing up, I just thought that was, like, I wasn't aware at that time that there were other areas. Like, I knew that show came out of Pittsburgh, because I know Bill Cardell was also like a newsman on that channel on WPXI. And I know he was in Night of the Living Dead, but I didn't know that there were all these other horror hosts out there until I started seeing Elvira showing up on as cameos in TV shows in the 80s, and I was like, well, who's this? And then I understood what Elvira was doing. So, oh, the horror host. Okay, well, I don't get that channel. I don't know what she's doing, but Svengoolie, from what I know now, but I didn't know when I was growing up because I didn't get that channel or nothing. I didn't know anything about them, but because there was the original Svengoolie, and then the guy who's Svengoolie now was the son of Svengoolie for a while, and then he just later became Svengoolie. I don't know. I've never really watched the show. I've never really watched it. I've seen clips and stuff. He seems like he's got a lot of comedy in that. He seems to know. He loves what he's doing. I can tell that. Or he wouldn't be doing it for as long as he did. So in my book, that's pretty cool. But the neat thing is with Chiller Theater, when I talked to Bill Chilly Billy Cardell, he said, Brian, you could, I asked him, are you okay if I call it Chiller Night Theater? Showed him the logo, had everything. He said, yeah, you could have even called it Chiller Theater, but somebody else has that now. He says, or you could have called it Son of Chiller, which to me was like, that is so cool. You know, you're talking a direct branch off from that show, the parent show. So yeah, I think he's fine. I think, but I'm saying that kind of vaguely because I really don't know. I don't really watch that show, but I know he's doing well. He's nationally syndicated, so good on him. Raymond says, Brian, hey Raymond, thanks for joining us. Very good to see you. I had mentioned you earlier on in the show. We were talking about some of our, we were looking for like Renee and Paul, and I had mentioned your name as well. So glad to see you here with us. Bonehead says, "Uh-oh, what I just do? Well, how about that? What did you do, Bonehead?" I don't, Brian, sorry, LOL. Oh, about Svengoolie. Yeah, I guess I did just. But that's my answer. That's my long answer to your short question. Tom says you hadn't heard about Vampira. I had heard about Vampire, but I've never like seen anything with her in it. Like I never saw any of that stuff. The only horror host that I really saw was Chili Billy. That was my Saturday night show, and I didn't know about the others. Or if I knew about them, I'd see them maybe in, I don't know, I'd maybe see something about it in Famous Monsters magazine or something like that. But that's like I really didn't have much information on them. And as a kid growing up, my go-to horror host was just Chili Billy. So I can't say I even really looked into the other stuff because I didn't get the channels. So Stephanie says, before I was born in Cincy, we had the Cool Ghoul. I've heard of that. My mom met him. I found his grave at Spring Grove. Oh, yeah? That's interesting. Raymond says, who decorated Jack Shadow's Christmas tree? You are the first person to mention the Christmas tree. Yes, there's the Christmas tree up in the castle courtyard. And sharp-eyed viewer Raymond, he noticed that it was decorated and, oh, that's, whoops. There goes the moving magic, folks. No, on the top of the tree, they put the jack-o'-lantern. So, I have to switch it around next time. The layering. Bonin says, people would like me to take a long walk off a short pier. D says, Bonin, I was just about to ask the same thing. Great minds think alike, LOL. Oh, I missed it. That's why I had to go back up. Okay. Oh, look at this. I'm missing other stuff. Kristen says The Wolfman is in theaters January 15th, 2025, and the production photos, while they don't show a lot, seem to take a classic approach to the Wolfman design. Okay. I don't know if you saw the same Wolfman that I saw. I'll tell you what, next week, and I put the picture up here one time. I hope that I hope you're seeing stuff that I didn't. So I'll tell you what, maybe next week I will put something up here to show that what I saw as the Wolfman. And I hope I'm wrong because I was not impressed with it at all. Stephanie says, cool Christmas tree, Brian. Thank you. Oh, here's his question. Brian, hate to bug you, but next week being Christmas, are you going to have a show? I plan on it. I plan on having a show. Let me see what the calendar is looking like next week. I mean, I know Christmas is next week, but what night is Tuesday night? Christmas Eve. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm planning on it. If something happens where I don't, like at the last minute, there's a family get together or something, I'll be sure to post as early as I can and let you know. But right now, I'm planning on having something, so Raymond says, Brian, I received your thought. I don't know how you did it. Tom says, yes, we need a Christmas show. I agree. Let's see. Bonehead says, D, you have a great mind. Mine is defective and operable. Oh no. SPC says, back when I was a child, we didn't have cable TV. We had less than 20 TV channels. Yeah, yeah. And the kids were the remote. Go turn the channel. The big floor model TVs and the big floor model radios. Remember, did anybody have these memories? Sure, a lot of you are, I'm sure, my age or older, or in that age bracket. But the old floor model stereos with the speaker on each side, and they lift it up, and you got the turntable here. You got your AM, FM radio inside, and it was I don't know. They were huge, freaking huge, and they were just that was so 60s and 70s. And you had your TV sets. I mean, that was like the compact refrigerator size. You know, they were huge. But yeah, I remember that. I just remember those days. Go turn the channel. Turn that. Yeah, turn it back. Turn it. Yep. The good old days. They were the good old days. Dominic says, that's awesome if you could have a show next week. I'm planning on it. I don't see any reason why not. Like I said, unless something comes up at the last minute, like, hey, you know, we're all going to, you know, one of the relatives' house for Christmas Eve or something like that. But I haven't done that last several years, so but that would be the only thing. I don't have anything planned right now, so I'm planning on doing the show. Let's see. PBR says Lon Chaney as Wolfman. 2 thumbs up. All right, I agree. Raymond says, Brian, you will be assembling toys for children. Yeah. Maybe so. Maybe I'll get Jack Shadow to help me. Oh, man, maybe I better not. They'll all look like the Island of Misfit Toys after he gets done with them on purpose. Bunny says, geesh, well, I caused some confusion and chaos there, didn't I? Dominic, see what I mean about being disruptive influence? No, that was actually a good question because I guess there were couple other people wondering the same thing. Raymond says, much older. Oh, older than me? Then you definitely would remember those old, the old floor model TVs and stereos. Yeah. I don't know. And if I'd almost like to get one just to have, just to see it again. Maybe I'll just look at my old pictures. I kind of like stuff like that, though, nostalgic stuff. PBR says my floor model had a turntable. Yeah, 8-track player and an AM radio. Trying to remember if ours had an 8-track player. I know that we had several 8-track players. Some of you younger viewers may not understand what those are. Yeah. Did ours have an 8-track? I don't know. There's something about that does sound familiar. I don't know if it's just the mention of 8-track or did ours have that. I mean, ours was... Not to brag, but ours was pretty fancy. You know, turntable, AM, and FM radio. I mean, hey, maybe ours did have the 8-track player. I'm going to say, sure, I'll say ours did. Let's see. Patty. Oh, there's Patty. Send the same address again. For me, yes, I haven't moved. Everything's the same. Yes. Everything is the same. Well, Patty, thanks for joining us. Pat Sylvan 1. For those of you who don't know Patty on YouTube, if you're got some newer people on here. Let's see. SBC says, I like those old TVs, not so much them rabbit ear antennas that never produced a good picture. Yeah. I agree with you there. Al says, I still have a TV from the 80s I use. The cable, people laugh at me when hooking me up, but it works. I want one of those large stand-up 80s, 70s or 80s, I don't know, probably an 80s, Space Invaders. I know they came out in the 70s because I remember playing it. That was the first arcade game that I remember playing. I have memory of playing it. It might not have been the first, but that's what I remember. But I'd like to have one of those. We have a stand-up arcade game in our home, but and supposedly you can download and program all these like tons of other uh, arcade games. But I just never got into looking to how. It's got a ton of arcade games already on it, but I love Space Invaders. I love that game. Uh, just so nostalgic, just like the stuff we're talking about. Just like the movies that we play for the chiller night theater. It's all nostalgic. It has something about it. I don't think anybody's really like wow, I get to watch The Ape with Boris Karloff. Like I don't know. I think there's a thrill about the nostalgia, how it made you feel. Um, back in the day, the good old days of yesteryear, watching this stuff, and that's kind of how the dialogue gets to me when we're talking about this stuff. We're talking about eight track players, and floor model stereos and TVs. That's pretty cool. I enjoy this. Um, D says, Brian, was your turntable cabinet a fancy ivory color too? No, it was. I don't think it was. I know the cabinet. I don't think so. I remember it being, and I think maybe if I could find the picture for next week, I'll try to show it. Because I just saw it not too long ago. I had just come home from basic training. I was standing there in my uniform in the Air Force, and I was standing there, and in the background you can see the colossal 8-track or the stereo in the background, and I that just made me remember that, like, so, oh man, I remember that. So I'm gonna try to dig that picture up for next week if I can. And here's a mission if you so choose to. Lasercorn, where's Lasercorn at? We used to have his mental mission. We're missing Lasercorn. We've been missing Lasercorn for a while. So, but hopefully all is well with him. I like rabbit ears only on women, SPC says. Okay. Little playmates, huh? Boda says, sorry, I should have said that, but in my defense, I don't have a brain or common sense to avoid saying idiotic things. Oh, bonehead. So, what the heck? Oh, yeah. Anybody, if you want to send pictures of your trees, anybody wants to do that, I'll put them up next week on Christmas Eve. If I have a show. If not, then we'll do it the week after. But I'm not planning on not having a show next week. I'll put it that way. So, hopefully I've made that clear. Yeah. Patty says, bonehead common sense is not as common as people think. No, I think you're right, Patty. PBR says, best Christmas scary movie. I don't know. I hear the Terrifier 3, maybe. I don't know. Is that right? I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen it. So, SBC says, talk about Space Invaders. Does anyone have one of those LED handheld consoles? I did not, but I just looked up a game that I was trying to remember from my childhood. I'm just pulling up the picture so I remember what the heck this thing was called. I saw it on eBay. Vintage Bambino Space Laser Fight electronic game. Yeah, Space Laser Fight. I remember we had those, and we had boxing. Gosh, that stuff brings back memories. I like collecting stuff like that. I don't know if I'd go so far as to purchase that off of eBay, but I just brought up. I was just looking for things from my childhood that I was trying to remember. Just curious the other day about that. D says, I love watching The Incredible Shrinking Man for the nostalgia set value. No CGI for the large props or the cat. It's great. Right, yeah. All practical effects. or at least, of course they They did a lot of wonders, even with like green screens and stuff back then, or even stop motion animation. We had an entire episode devoted to Ray Harryhausen, and and how all the wonders that he did. King Kong, with King Kong, that movie, that with the stop motion animation, and I love watching the old effects like that. I particularly love watching late '70s stuff, like Star Wars, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, uh, Superman, the original Superman movie. See, I like watching stuff like that just because, yeah, it's not as visually, uh, you know, magic, I guess, but I don't know. The nostalgic wise, it is because I remember it takes me back to watching it when I was a kid and how I felt watching that stuff as a kid. So, let's see. Patty says, not Space Invaders. I was more of a Missile Command person. Ah, yes, that was a fun one too. That was another one that was that came out pretty early. But it says, ain't got a tree, got a branch though. Gotta start somewhere. Kristen says, after a deep dive into the new Wolfman, you're right. Other photos show him as being a balding man with straggly hair. Very disappointed. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. That was like when you said, but I heard somebody saying this was inspired by, the original Wolfman. Jack Pierce, the original makeup guy from Universal Monsters or movies, Universal Studios. The Jack Pierce, the famous Jack Pierce, did the Frankenstein makeup and the Wolfman. And when it said that, I was like, where exactly is the inspiration from Jack Pierce on this thing? Yeah, it did look like it. Dee says, I think they did some stop motion in Army of Darkness. I think you're right. I think I kind of vaguely remember something like that. You might be right about that. Patty says, what about the new werewolf movie? Yeah, that Al was here earlier. He mentioned that. Did he see it or was going to see it? I think he said he saw it. But I don't know. I haven't heard anything about it. In fact, I didn't know about it until he mentioned it. The other one that Christian's talking about is Wolfman. So that will be coming out. SPC says the Incredible Shrinking Man, no CGI, just use cold water. No CGI at all, just practical effects. Raymond says, back then the actors had less animation to help them look good. Yeah, and all the filters and everything. But it says, well, in the words of the immortal Dave Allen, good night, thank you, and may your God go with you. Yes, I need to get a little glass of scotch and cigarette and do the Dave Allen thing. Because of Dave Allen, we have a catchphrase at the end of my shows. Because of that right there. So I had to have Jack Shadow say, I bid you adieu, my children of the night. And for this, I will say it in but a mere few seconds. So I do want to thank all of you for joining me and each other for another night of Chiller Night Live. So everybody, have a good night. Have a good Chiller Night, and we'll see you next week.